Hello, Horse14T here, and today I am going to do a tutorial on basic NIF coding for ZT2. Now, in this tutorial, we're going to do a beginner's guide on how to prepare an animal for in-game use under normal circumstances. So just an easy going tutorial. I'm going to use the Restorer's unicorn here, the male one. And yeah, so here we are in Blender 2.49b. And I don't want the cursor there to go away. And this one, I chose this one because we have two parts on this model. We have the main unicorn, and we have the mane here. And it's totally normal for the mane, for an alpha like the mane, to be blank on one side. That's normal. I don't know how to fix it, if it's possible to fix it. So yeah. Anyway, we're going to export this boy, and I'm clicking A in order to select everything. If I had something hidden, like say I hit H to hide the skeleton here, all I had to do to unhide it is click Alt H and it'll reappear. Then A to select everything. Then File, Export, NIF, and I'm in the folder that I want to export it to. So I'm going to your model won't be auto-named like this. This is just the third time I tried to do this. So we're going to export it as tutorial NIF. You can export your NIF however you want. And here with the export properties, you need to have all of these selected as you see here. So export geometry only. NIF is selected. Force DDS extension is selected. Stitch strips is selected. Smoothen inter-object seams. Export skin partition. Combine all materials to increase performance. And of course, ZT2. And click OK. And so now we should have our exported model right here. Hi, post-edit horse here. I forgot to mention during the Blender portion of the video that you should not use Blender 2.79 for NIF modeling, because while there is a plugin for NIFs in 2.79, it is bugged and will not allow you to export your edited model. And I have never been successful in exporting a NIF from 2.79. So no matter how many times I've tried to fiddle with it, don't use that version if you want to save yourself a huge headache and possibly wasting a lot of your time with modeling your animal. So that's just my piece. Let's carry on with the rest of the tutorial. So we click this, and here's our model here. Okay, so in order to get the value over to name here, I just hover over and see where the mouse changes to these little arrows. Then I double click that and it brings the value over and makes things easier to look at. Now what we want to do is I'm going to transfer the unicorn model that we just exported over to the zebra NIF. Now in order to do that, I have to go to where I put my folder. In this case, I just took all the zebra files from the game and put it on my desktop. I want to right click it, Properties, Uncheck Read Only, apply, okay, okay. So now everything in here should be able to be edited. See, the read only is not clicked anymore, and that's what we want. So we're going to start off with opening the zebra NIF here. And we are going to strip this entire NIF of the zebra. So what we want to do is click on the load controller and right click on it. Don't click on the flag because you'll just get that. Just right click on it, block, remove branch. And then we have some leftover load files here, so block, remove branch, block, remove branch, and block, remove branch. So now we should only have the bones, the collision data, and a vertex property, buffer property. Not every NIF has a vertex color property. That's just something with the zebra NIF in this case. So now this is prepared for transfer of our unicorn here. Now, what we want to do with the unicorn is we want to click it, and this here you can name it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. In this case, I'm going to do tutorial, and the flags here should be set at 22, as that's what it's usually set on the in-game animals. What we want to do is go to try shape data, and we want to change this 0 here to match the num vertices, so this top number here, so 5, 4, 6, and refresh that with these little arrows. So you should have all these match groups now. And what that does is it prevents your animal from having a black icon when selected. If your animal has a black icon, chances are you didn't do the match groups. And we want to change the static to mutable. And just refresh that just to make sure. And the vertex colors here are what create this black dot here. And depending on the animal that you used as your base, you may have vertex colors or you may not. In this case, I don't want them, so I'm going to turn them off. But if you did want them and you wanted to mess around with them, you can, let's say I wanted my unicorn to have like red spots all over him. Here, you just, I believe you just Control C, and I'm using Shift. I'm clicking on this, Shift, and I click on another one, and then Control V, and that should change it all. And you can just go to town on coloring your animal, all kinds of colors if you wanted to. This is good for when you want some more coloring that you don't want to mess with the texture too much, or you're not confident in your texturing skills. So you could just mess around with vertex colors if you want to. Say brighten certain parts of your texture or something, or darken, whatever you want. So I'm going to undo all of that with Control Z. It's not undoing that, but I'm not going to use vertex colors anyway because of that black dot that it has on the belly, and it looks better anyway. So I'll undo all our changes, that's why. So there we go. So this is normal now. Just click all these refresh arrows just to be sure. And then we go back here, change this back, change this, whoops, change this back. I can't spell. Tutorial. There we go. And now we want to go to texturing property, change this to decal, and refresh, and all of this should be normal. Alpha property, you want to be sure you have this set right, because otherwise your alpha is like the main here, which an alpha, all it is just a flat two-sided plane that has transparency to it. And what you want to do, because if this is not set right, your alpha is like the main here will appear black in game. What you want to do is you uncheck enable blending, because ZT2 does not support blending. And make sure to circ alpha and INV circ alpha are selected in these boxes here. Enable testing should be checked. Alpha test function should be greater. Then alpha test threshold. In this case, I'm going to set it to 120, and then no shorter should be unchecked as well. Okay, and see how the main changed now. That's because it's connected to this alpha property that's also on the body. Now, 120 is usually around the default. However, it can range to be 80 or 100 or any number really, whatever number you want for your alpha. In this case, I'm going to stick with 120. Okay, so now we click on our model again, and now we go to stencil property, and we want this test never to be greater, and this action to be increment, and that's it. And the material here. Now this flag doesn't really matter, but I like to set it to 0 because that's what most of the in-game settings materials are for NIFs. And here, this should be white. Oh no, it's not white. Emissive color controls the shading of the animal in-game. So it controls how dark the animal gets at night. So if your animal has a glowing issue, like it glows at night or something, you may want to check its emissive color to make sure it's not set to like something like this. And you just set it to 0 and it gives the animal shading you can see here. If you have an animal that's appearing a little too dark though, you can always set it to be a bit lighter. But typically you want to set it to full black. And ambient color, because these could be really fun to mess with for like creative models. Ambient color can give your animal a beautiful, in this case, really red highlight. As you can see, as I move the model, it's kind of making it nice and shiny with the red color. White is basically just the transparent default setting, and then so it doesn't really do much. Diffuse color can make the lighting on your model like this, so it's kind of like the body color. It's not actually changing the texture at all. It's not applied to the texture like vertex colors does. This is just lighting stuff. I actually don't know how this will look in game. I've never tried it personally, but that's something fun that you can experiment with if you wanted to. And again, if you wanted like your texture to be tweaked into little colors and stuff. Specular color, I'm not entirely sure what that does. Because it doesn't appear to do anything in here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did something in game that I'm not aware of. But anyway, we have this all set up here, and now we have everything all set up. Everything's set up for being transferred to our skeleton over here. And always for the body. For the main, we have to repeat the process of everything. So we just, we don't have to do apply decal here because there is no blinking texture on the main. So the main texture and property can stay the same. Alpha property, it's the same alpha property as on the body, so that's okay. Stencil property is also the same. That would typically be it. And then here, you can see a leftover from a recent patch that I did for the Restores Unicorn. I made the main a little brighter so that it's a little bit brighter during the day and a little less dark at night. But for the sake of consistency, I'm going to make that white. Because you can see, if I go to the alpha property, the material, if I choose black, it should be dark. Yeah, you can see that it's darker on this side. This side will be, whatever the dark side is of the alpha will be more reflective of how it appears in game. Not 100%, but that's typically how it is. And also, if you want to do hex coding, you just open the color wheel here, right click, hex edit, and then you import your numbers here. And there we go. See that I made it a little bit brighter. Let's see if I could get it before and after. Nope. It won't let me because the undo redo buttons don't register every little edit that you do, so you have to be careful of that, so keep in mind of that. But then tri-shape data, we want this to be mutable. The main in this case doesn't have any vertex colors, so we can uncheck that. And how I'm unchecking that again is just double clicking it in order to select no 11 and refresh all of this to make sure it's all applied. You will never have to mess with the skin instance. Yeah, instance. Yeah, you don't need to do anything with those. So now our unicorn is 100% ready for being transferred. So what we want to do is right click, block, copy branch, and we want to go to our prepared parent nif. And notice here how there are these empty children here on the scene root. You want to go to scene root. You want to right click on one of the empty children here, block, paste branch, and there we go. There's our unicorn on the parent here. We want to go back to scene root, go back to our unicorn friend here, click on the main, right click, block, copy branch, and alternatively you could just right click on scene root here, block, paste branch, and there we go. And it should be one of the children now, see? And you don't really need to worry about these other ones because these will automatically disappear once you save. And if you're wondering how I'm moving this, what I'm doing is I'm just left clicking it and I'm hitting Control and then one of the arrow keys on my keyboard, the up and down arrow keys on my keyboard. And you can use this technique to reorder blocks too if you want to be a little more organized or something. You can only move one at a time though, So if you want to move an entire list, like say from the main all the way down here, you need to have a lot of patience because you can only move one block at a time. And that's basically it. Now, right now, our unicorn friend here does not have the ability to blink. And that will be covered in part 2 of this tutorial. And so yeah, head over to part 2 if you want. But otherwise, this unicorn is ready to be used in game. If you have any questions, let me know. Comment below, message me anywhere where you can find me, and that's it. So have a good day and see you later.